Hold on, wait, I'm not a pro, not even close to that, but I've interviewed Yvonne. I've been pumping almost every day in the last 10 days. I had a great conversation with Pietro, one of the guys in the pump foiling community from Zurich, and also with some of the guys in my small community, the pump foiling club. So I found some new tips and tricks, and I wanted to pack them in a new video. But intermediate tips wasn't an appealing title, right? Anyway, I promise you will find value in this video, so stick until the end. Tip 1. Strive for the glide. Unfortunately, trying to pump as far as possible with a bad technique is not gonna take us anywhere. We learn how to pump longer and further, and we become more efficient only when we learn how to stay on the foil in such a way that the foil is not affected by our movement. The foil is free to go wherever he wants. If we don't have the right posture, if we're not using the right technique, we are hampering the foil ride. We are slowing it down. Instead, we have to strive for the glide. And by the way, this is the best, the most important exercise that we can do to learn how to pump with the right technique, how to pump properly. Because if we are constantly looking to glide, we have to pick up speed, pick up height on the mast, and then glide. So we learn how to pick up speed, we learn how to pick up height on the mast, and we learn how to glide efficiently, to maximize the glide. These are the basics, right? If we learn these three things, we can pump forever, right? The second tip is the decompression. I like to call it this way. And it's not one that I hope you won't have in your next flight. But if you take a look at my old videos, you will notice that I was super compressed. My board was close to the water. My knees were bent. I was leaning forward with my chest. My arms were in front. It was a very, very bad posture, right? And the thing is that if you are that compressed, there is a lot of weight on your legs, so you will burn out and you won't be able to pump longer. Instead, we have to decompress, we have to stretch, we have to stay upright, we have to stay high on the mast, to detach that board from the water, to straighten that legs, to open the chest. And the goal of these two first steps, it's actually the third step, which is take pressure out of those legs. It's so important that we decompress, that we strive for the glide, so that we can rest our legs even for a tiny little bit, even for 1 or 2 seconds. Even if we glide for 1 or 2 seconds and we can rest, we can extend fully our legs for a fraction of a second within each pump. It's so important because the efficiency comes from saving energy at each pump, saving a tiny little bit of energy at each pump. Because think about it, right? We have to pump for, I don't know, maybe 50 times, 100 times. If we can save a little bit of energy in each of these 100 pumps, we're gonna be so much more efficient in the end, right? You know, when you're running and maybe you are doing this zone training, so you're trying to keep your heart rate low in a certain range. Well, we wanna do the same with pump foiling. We wanna try to slow down the movements to save energy at each pump. We want to almost do things in slow motion so that we can save a tiny little bit of energy every time and we can keep our heart rate low. Because as soon as our heart rate starts rising, it's a compound effect. It skyrockets and we burn out, we die. So focus on the pump, lower the cadence maybe, and try to really feel and understand when the foil is gaining speed, when it's picking up height on the mast, and try to relax. Because in the end, it's just that. If you take a look at my videos, you will notice that often my hands are super stiff. And if my hands are like this, chances are that all my body is super stiff, I'm not relaxed, and I'm wasting energy. Imagine that. Imagine if your neck is super rigid, you are contracting your abs, your hands are like this. You're contracting a lot of muscles at the same time and you're wasting a lot of energy and you're skyrocketing your heart rate. We don't want that. We want to be super relaxed through all the pump. When we glide, when we pump, when we dog start, we want to be as relaxed as possible. I repeat it in all my videos, but it's important. What you gonna do? Oh, this is a good one, especially if you don't have an advanced fuselage. I'm pretty sure that it happens that you are pumping and then you are slowing down. You have 8 on the mast, but you can't gain speed. You are pumping. Maybe you think that you have the right technique, but you can't gain speed. Why that? Because I found that before hopping, before gaining 8 on the mast, we have to gain speed. And to gain speed, we have to extend our front leg so that we can pitch the nose a little bit down, and then we can press with our back leg to gain that speed. Because if we just press with our back leg, when the foil is still pointing up, we are gonna slow down. Before pressing with our back leg to gain speed, we have to extend our front leg so that we can pitch the nose down, and then we can press with our back leg to gain speed. Because if we just press with our back leg when the foil is still pointing up, we're gonna slow down. And that's it. We want to not press, we want to just extend our front leg first so that we can pitch the board a little bit down, and then we can press with our back leg to gain speed. And then we hop again, and then again, extend the front leg first, and then press with the back one. I'm still super bad at it, but we want to lock our knees and our hips as well when we are gliding. It's hard, because you really have to be relaxed on the board to be able to do so. But if when you glide, you can lock your knees, lock your hips, and lean maybe a little bit forward so that the board is perfectly horizontal, is perfectly flat over the water, that is the moments where you can really maximize the glide and glide for 10 meters instead of just gliding for 2 meters and stalling. With all the aforementioned tips, it really helps to have a small stab, a small board, and an advanced fuselage. Unfortunately, I don't have an advanced fuselage, but I just bought a small stab and a small board. And here you can watch the video where I explain why it's so important to have a small stab. And here you can watch the video where I explain why it's so important to have a small board. It is the review of my new small Gong Kluber 80 centimeters. And make sure to stick around because next week I have great news for you. Bye.